see.
Yeah, Andrea, can you pick me up on here?
Yes, I can see you.
Can you, so you can hear it too?
Yes. Mm.
I had a meeting yesterday and somehow I was having a background and it was real, I don't know, airy sounded. So I had to keep it muted.
Zoom has been very interesting here lately, so we'll see what happens.
Right. I started to say this could be a pretty good sized group. So
I think as of yesterday afternoon, there were 166 people registered, so should be good.
that's really good, really.
Hey, Andrea, I'm going to try to go ahead and screen share my presentation, if that works.
Yep, that sounds good.
There you go. I think we'll be good.
Yeah, Deanna, if you just leave it on that QR code for the
Will do.
appreciation letter, people could start on that.
Sounds good. It's officially 9 o'clock, so I want to officially call this 2020 Region 4 business session to order. I want to thank everyone for joining in. For those who don't know me, I am Deanna Teese. I am the Region 4 Vice President. I currently teach in Boonville, Missouri, and I'm getting ready to start my 18th year of teaching. Also on the call with me is Jeff Voris, who is the Region 4 Secretary. As you can see on the screen, one of the very first things you have the opportunity to do is if you would like to scan the QR code, there is, it will take you to a Google form that will allow you to fill out a single form, where you can fill it out multiple times, and Jeff will be glad to send a letter of appreciation to your administrator for your attendance at the meeting today. Also, this entire presentation will be posted on Communities of Practice, so if you need to access it at a later point in time, it will be available for you. So I will now turn it over to Jeff Voris, the Region 4 Secretary, to provide reflections.
Well, after spending the past week on vacation riding around at a combine, I've had lots of time to think about what to reflect on for the past 6 months. And I decided I didn't really want to reflect on the last 6 months. So we're going to look forward. Here in a month or two, we're going to have kids back in the classroom. Hopefully we'll start having some normalcy back to our lives and the kids' lives. I think we all need to remember, as that normalcy kicks back in, as the routine kicks back in, students may struggle because, look at what they've been through for the last 6 months. Even though I'm a strong believer students are resilient, I think we're going to have to know and be there for our kids, and if we have not already started that process. So I think as we look forward, we need to be there and be prepared to, as we go back in the classroom, it may be more about taking care of our students than necessarily teaching at times. And I guess if I'd reflect on one thing, I hope we are done with Zoom and virtual stuff, because I am tired of it. That's all I've got, Deanna.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll go ahead and bring up a copy of the minutes. I believe Jeff has sent out copies of these, but they're available for your viewing. These are the minutes from our 2019 Region 4 meeting in Anaheim. And Jeff, I'll turn it back over to you if you need to go over any information.
Anybody got any questions on the minutes? If we don't, I move for the acceptance of the minutes.
Second.
It was seconded by Hank Carson of Indiana. If you would go ahead, and a poll popped up, if you would go ahead and vote for approval of the minutes, please. Okay, minutes have been approved. We are now going to we have Parker Bain, our NAAE president, on the phone. Parker, if you would want to bring greetings.
All right, Deanna, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So I've got I appreciate Jeff's comments, and I'm going to do a little bit of forward looking as well here. But I am going to reflect a little bit on the last 6 months with what I have to say. And I tell you what, you know, it's cliche to think about everything that we've been through. And one of my hobbies is I like to get on the internet sometimes, and I like to look at memes. And there's some memes going around, and it seems like every month there is something new that comes up. And of course, some of the things we can take a little bit more lightheartedly than others, but you know, I definitely don't want to make light of the pain that has gone around in so many ways over the last few months. But I do want to reflect on some really, really good things that have happened, particularly in the world of ag education. And what I'm going to start with is, you know, one of my favorite terms lately is, you know, we're building the plane while we're flying it. And how many of you can use the Zoom reactions, you know, there's a wave or a clap, or you can just wave on your screen. How many of you felt like when we were doing this remote learning stuff that you were building the plane while you were flying it? Give me a wave if you ever felt that way. I know that I did. And you know, like anything else, you tried some things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. But how many of you were surprised by something that worked really well that you think should actually be kind of kept and maybe just become the way? Give me a wave or a clap if you were surprised by something. I see some thumbs up going out there. You know, I know in Illinois, I've heard a lot of the comments, particularly about our state FFA proficiency awards, and we did some things differently with that. And you know, throughout a lot of this, you know, I think that we're going to see a lot of positive things that come from that. But I also want to focus on us, you know, as members of our communities, and also as healthy individuals. And so one of the really, really cool things that happened, and I haven't seen, maybe some of these people are on the call. There's a food bank that serves a huge area in the community in which right next to where my family lives, and most of the volunteers of that food bank are in a high risk category. Mainly because of age, you know, so you had a lot of people that retired and they went to work, they volunteered for the food bank. Now, of course, when COVID-19 broke out, guess what happened? These people are no longer able to volunteer. And so I signed up for one of the first shifts that I could get working at this food bank. And on the very first day that I did that, there was a handful of us from our section. In Illinois, we have sections of our area, and we didn't plan this, but there was a group of ag teachers that showed up, and we just had a good old time working. We packaged we packaged food for the food bank and sent that off, and it was a good time. So how many of you were able to do some unexpected but valuable community service in this? And if you did, I think it needs to be recognized, you know, because that's one of the important things that we really focus on. And then finally, you know, I see a lot of us, and I've heard a lot of talk, you know, about people developing healthy habits. You know, whatever the shutdown was in your state, I know a lot of you were able to develop some habits as far as exercise, and some of you were able to develop habits of sleep. So I want you to think about it. How many of you were able to maybe make a change in your life that made you a little bit healthier throughout this? I know that I did, you know, in particular, you know, I think it got me on track as far as my schedule better, and allowed me to take a little bit better command of my time, and perhaps rest and address some things that I needed to. So I know that this has been a challenging time, but I know that there's been some blessings, and the association has also had some challenges, but we've also had some huge blessings. I think our staff has pulled together remarkably well and responded with some excellent professional development. Some of you in particular that are involved with the CASE project have been involved in some really, really innovative things. And that professional development, the hits are going to keep on coming. I see a lot of good things. We've adjusted some of our deadlines, and we have some other big things that are coming down the pike for the association. And so I want you to know that the association is here for you. And no matter what we face in the fall, I know that there's a lot of uncertainty. You know, some of you have more certainty than others, but the association is here for you. And I hope that you know that you can count on us, you know, no matter what the circumstances. So I want to thank Deanna and Jeff for their leadership, and I want to thank all of you for your leadership in the States. I would give a personal plea here for you. One of the things that I think is going to get overlooked, especially if we get into situations that we can't go back to school in the fall, I want you to be thinking as state leaders about how are you going to help. You know, how are you going to make sure that you're keeping your membership numbers up? Because, you know, from the national level on down to the local level, you know, membership and that value we get from membership is one of the driving forces of the association. And, you know, I recognize that this process that we've gone through this last couple of months has disrupted a lot of things, including fiscal years, including grants, including payments. So if the association can help you in any way, you know, keep your membership up, we would certainly appreciate that. But with that, you know, I want to thank you all, Region 4. You know, I'm biased, but I think it's the best region in the country, and you know, I appreciate all that you do. And so I'll open it up. Do you have any questions for me about the association or anything that's going on? All right. Well, I appreciate your time today, and you know, thanks, Deanna.
Thank you very much, Parker. Enjoy your day. As we
Will do.
move on through our program, we're going to go into our state reports. And Jessica Collins, if you are on, we'll start with the Illinois report.
I'm actually going to kick this to Ann Petrosky. She is our newly elected state president for Illinois.
Perfect. So Ann, I have your slides that you sent, so I'll just navigate through those for you. Does Ann happen to be on?
She is on, but she's muted, but I can go ahead and do them if you want to flip through the slides. I can go along. She's the one that submitted them, so we'll just kind of wing
I'm
this.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I was talking and didn't realize I was on mute. So membership-wise, we have 429 active members, 90 student and associate members, which brings our total to 519 total members. We have about 353 ag ed programs in the state with 441 ag teachers. Leadership-wise, we did just have our conference last week. Past president is Jessica Collins. President is myself. Vice President, Lisa Ulrich. Treasurer Secretary is Gary Oakes. Our IAVAT Executive Director is John Edgar. FFA Executive Director is Mindy Bunzelmeyer. Director or District 1 Director is Jason Kilborn. District 2 is Matthew Meyer. District 3 is Steve Bike. District 4 is Justin Howard. District 5 is Josh Berg. And our IACCAI rep is Doug Robb. Again, we got level funded for our $5 million for our 3-Circle Grant incentive funding grant for the programs across the state and other state initiatives. We have the 3-Circle Grant, our FFA and SAE grant. We have about 260 teachers in Illinois that are taking advantage of that 12-month extended contract. Our ag ed lobbyist did create a bill for an internship program for the ag education to gain technical experience in the field and to earn money doing so. other legislative efforts, and we're doing other legislative efforts and keeping eyes on those bills that affect ag education and teachers. CDE-wise, we did set all of the CDE dates and locations for the next 5 years, so until 2026. We hosted 8 virtual CDEs and LDEs this year and 9 in-person CDEs and LDEs. At our conference, we did host a virtual conference this year with about 226 members attending. We also hosted a virtual trivia night to support advocacy and our crisis fund. And we're also selling the I Support Illinois Ag Education t-shirts that are there on the screen.
Thank you very much, Anne, for your report. Hank Carson, if you would like to give a report from the state of Indiana.
I unmuted myself. Let me try that again. I'm going to hand this over to our newly elected IAAE president, Mr. Steve Cowan. And I know Steve is online here somewhere. He was.
Oh, I'm here. I just had to get my mute set too. I'll kind of go down through and highlight some things for Indiana here. Our association is currently at 166 members. Across our state right now, we have about 20 openings. As far as teaching openings, 20 plus across the state of Indiana. One of the things that we're seeing is we have a large percentage of our teachers right now that are less than 5 years of experience. Obviously, this creates a need for us to make sure that we're doing all that we can to support and help these teachers. We just completed a virtual state FFA convention. It wasn't perfect, but our state staff did a great job of putting this on with the CDEs and the LDEs. Our viewer count was over 5,000 viewers for the convention. We're now getting ready for virtual training with the help of Purdue to help our teachers prep for school this fall. As far as the fall looks here in Indiana, it seems like we're going to start on time in most all of our schools and be in a face-to-face situation, I think. But obviously with the state, and probably like most of your other states, it's going to vary from district to district, is what we're looking at right now. We're planning on doing our IAAE awards at a luncheon this September at the IACTE conference in Indianapolis. We will also have some other workshops going on during that conference. Our state staff are currently working their way through revisions of our ag pathways. They're also in a mode of trying to figure out and get out the SAE for all accomplished and how they're going to do that. And we're also working on funding for our CBAT program. This is a mentoring program that we have for first-year teachers in the state, or beginning teachers in the state, to help retain them and make sure that they're successful in their beginning endeavors. Our winter workshop theme is going to be developed around assisting our teachers to get a balance between CDEs and their curriculum. Obviously, we're hoping that that's an in-person, in-face workshop, but if it's not, we are learning quite a bit about virtual, it seems like, and we're going to do the best we can to make sure that we support our teachers any way that we can, virtually or in face. So that's pretty much what I have.
Thank you very much, Steve. Bradley, if you want to bring a report from the state of Kentucky.
Greetings from the state of Kentucky. AAAE membership is 218. We have about 260 teachers. We've currently got 160 programs, give or take. We're seeing a large growth in middle school programs, but some of those are growing. Some of them go down every summer, but it just seems like to me that it's just a growing thing. We're currently doing our state convention contest right now, going through doing the judging for them. Our state convention's been filmed. It's going to go live at the end of this month, like June 30th, and then July 1st and the 2nd. At night, lots of activities, a lot of care packages. Any student that was involved in state convention got an FFA like box, so that they're getting them this week. Very, very excited about that. We are process of scheduling our virtual CTE, KAAE conference at the end of July. So we're looking at a lot of workshops that are there. KAAE is also going through doing, for people that want to sign up, doing a briefcase training in ag business. And we're just looking into doing different fundraising things. We normally do an auction for the scholarship, but we're going outside the box this year and coming with that, and just kind of excited just to see what the changes that we do, how things are going to turn out when it comes to our conference and the different PDs that we have to offer. I know state regulations here, some schools, or all schools, I think, are going to be different, whether they do hybrid schedules or AB schedules or all online. We're just kind of hiding and watching, but KAAE, we're going to be offering tons of PD to our members all the time, and we just we're always got open arms and can just help anybody and anything that they need. So all is well in Kentucky.
Thank you very much. Renee, if you want to bring greetings from the state of Michigan.
Yeah, hi. So we have 82 members this year. We have just about 130 teachers in the state, so quite a bit smaller than most of the other states in our region. But 82 members is an increase from last year, and from the officer team, it's the highest membership we've had in recent years. So we've done a pretty focused, or had a focus on increasing our membership over the last couple of years, and it has been paying off. We currently have 25 student members at Michigan State University, and that is our only university in the state that offers an ag ed program. And so we have seen an increase in students interested in going into agri-science education. And that's really exciting to see, especially with a huge decrease in enrollment in the teacher education programs at MSU. It's the only program at the university right now that is growing for teacher education. Some other things in the state that we've done recently. Last fall, and they finished it up this spring, there was a strategic planning group that established the MSU Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources Education team to kind of represent the state and for decision making. That team and some of those individuals organized, when we went to virtual teaching in March, they organized weekly and bi-weekly collaborations between all the teachers, and I think we were the only group, the CTE group in the state, that really did that starting from the very beginning. And because of that, and because they're continuing those this summer, we postponed our summer conference and aren't currently planning on offering a virtual one. Our plan is to do our elections at our fall conference, hopefully in person, if that happens. If not, we'll do that virtually. We have a couple teacher, educator, professors at Michigan State that started a Michigan Teach Ag Talk podcast that's been really beneficial, and they've gone into a lot of social justice topics recently. And then we have done, or are hosting next week and the following week, state leadership conferences for our officer teams, and Challenge 24, which is a program for students that are interested in being agri-science teachers. Couple of things with the growth in the state. We have 2 completely new programs that have hired new teachers that I know of. We only have a couple openings in the state. Most of our positions have been filled. And we had 1 or 2 schools that originally shared a teacher, and they split and both hired teachers. So fortunately, we're filling most positions, and that's been going well in the state. And then we have a couple teachers who've organized a virtual book club on social justice for the teachers in our state to do this summer. So kind of a synopsis of what Michigan is doing currently.
Thank you, Renee, and congratulations on your increase in membership. I know it's been a goal that you guys have worked towards. Chuck Wilson with the state of Missouri, if you would like to provide an update. Chuck, do you happen to still be online?
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Greetings from Missouri. This year has been like with every other state, probably in our division. It's been a challenging one. As far as our membership go, we have 487 active members, 23 associate members, 9 lifetime members, and 15 student members. That number, our student membership has decreased a little bit from last year. I think probably a lot of that is because of the pandemic that we went through here this past year. That makes our total membership around 533 members. We have 348 high school and ag ed career centers in our state. We also have 6 teaching centers in our state, and like probably in every other state, we're still focusing on trying to get more teachers into our profession. As far as our joint staff goes, we work very hard on that. This year we went to a virtual state FFA conference. I want to commend our state staff and our state officers for putting together a very quality state convention, and I think they did an excellent job of presenting our members in a very positive way and showcasing them and their achievements throughout the year. We are going to have a face-to-face hybrid conference in July for our state membership in Springfield. Our state ACTE decided to go virtual, and with our membership, and when we did a survey, they decided that they wanted to have a face-to-face or some type of hybrid where we could do some stuff virtually. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to have that in the latter part of July.
Thank you, Chuck, for your report. Our last state report comes from Whitney Short with Ohio.
Hi, greetings from Ohio. Renee, I'm actually in Michigan right now on vacation, so I'm enjoying your state, which is kind of nice. But I did included a link, I'm not sure that you can get to it, but of our annual report. So a few things from Ohio. We have around 220 members, and we have around 465 teachers. So still membership is actually up, but it's still a goal of ours to continue to increase membership. Some highlights from the past year, we have 2 new positions. Last year at summer conference, we decided to add a director of communications, which has been really positive this year and has really improved our communication with our members. And then this year during our meeting, we added an advisor position to kind of have just a member that's been in our organization for quite a while that can keep us on track and knowing what things are. So with the director of communications, new this year, we had a monthly newsletter to go to all of our members, Facebook takeovers for all our public relations and communication with members really improved this year. So teachers were very positive about hearing more from the organization. Right now, we are working on a partnership with the Ohio FFA Foundation for sponsor and fundraising. So in the past, we've done that on our own, and we feel like this could be a really positive step. We had our business meeting in June. And so Sabrina Stalder is on the call. She's our new president, and Joanne Pfeiffer is our president-elect. Summer conference was canceled, and part of that, we're still working with Ohio Department of Education, but they have some very strong limit on what they can do. So we're also limited, but we're still discussing options for professional development. And we have reached out to several teachers to put together some different, whether it's podcasts or Zoom meetings or different, or just a video of best practices. We're working on some of that professional development. One of the most exciting things from this past year, thank you to Stephanie Jolliffe, our treasurer, is our new website and online association membership software. So this just went live. We're super excited about it. I think our website looks very professional, and also the membership software will be very beneficial, especially to Stephanie and the rest of the officers as we move, into 2020 here, and are able to keep track of that a little bit better. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Whitney. And thank you to all of those state presidents. I know you've received a lot of communication from me over the last couple of months, and I'm sorry for flooding your email, but thank you for your year of service, and welcome to the new or incoming presidents as you are elected throughout this year. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff, and we're going to get ready to do our committee breakout rooms. So Jeff, if you would want to go over just a few of the guidelines.
Okay, here in just a minute, we're going to break everybody out into groups. During this time, there are committee chairs that have volunteered, and yes, Jesse, I consider you a volunteer, even though you thought you was drafted. We will, you have some discussion points. This will only take about 10 minutes. If you would, when you have any highlights from your discussion during the committee meeting, if you would email me those bullet points, and I will add those to the PowerPoint that's being shared at this time for when you give your committee report. They'll come up on the screen. So if you would, please email me any comments and stuff, and I will get those transferred over. And that's about all I have.
When we break out, I know everybody had pre-selected a committee that they wanted to listen in on or provide discussion on. The members leading the discussions for each committee: finance will be Stacy French, marketing, Lisa Ulrich, member services, Matt Bernia, policy and bylaws, Matt Meyer, professional growth, Josh Bondi, public policy, Jesse Faber, and strategic planning, Stephanie Jolliffe. So during these discussions, the chairs do have some talking points, but what it will do is it provides, the discussion provides, and the feedback that's provided, and those points that are sent to Jeff will then be turned over to each one of the national committees for discussion during their virtual committee meetings in August. So it's very important that we have these regional discussions so that Region 4's voice can be heard on various points. So Andrea, if we are ready for breakouts, if you are ready, let's go ahead and let's do our committee breakouts.
All right. If for some reason you don't get put into a room, I'll assign it once it goes through. But I think everybody should be, for the most part, ready to go.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through the list of who has not been assigned to a room yet, and you just tell me where you want to go. The phone number 1-816-344-6031. Okay. What about C. Phillips?
I'm here. I will go to, I'd like to go to strategic planning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deanna, you want to stay in the room, in the main room? Okay. Matt Meyer.
Policy and bylaws, please.
Okay. Jennifer Smith.
Professional growth, please.
Okay. Mitch Miller.
Strategic planning, please.
Okay. Miss Cultra.
You can send me to public policy.
Okay. Ryden.
I'll go to professional growth.
Okay. Ryan. Okay, is it the Lowies?
Yeah, finance.
Finance, okay. Travis Shear.
Member services.
Okay. Wilson. Wilson. I think you're muted.
Membership services.
Okay. Then Trenton Tabor.
Member services, please.
Member services. Ryan. Okay. And then Whitney Short. Okay. That should be everybody, I think. I've got Deanna, you're on there. Someone named Ryan. But they haven't responded. And then NAAE HQ, do you all want to go to a room?
Yeah, can we be put in professional growth?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome. All right, that should be everybody, I believe.
Perfect. Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm not sure. I had it uploaded this morning, the Excel file, and it put like a handful in there, but not every, I don't know. I don't know what Zoom's doing with itself, but we got it figured out.
Nope. It seemed like the gap was long enough to hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. I think there was only like 2 or 3 that I hadn't assigned that were on the list still, and then there were some people who jumped on afterwards too. So I'll pull the list to see how many people we're up to as of right now registered. Looks like we're up to 171.
Awesome. Post the conference, can you just send Jeff and I the file of the final registrants?
Yes, I can send that to you. And then we actually have the PD certificates too, that I'll use that list to send to everybody.
Sounds great.
And Deanna, whenever you want to, or Jeff, either one, want to give them like a couple minute warning, just let me know and I can send out a broadcast message to everybody.
Andrew, could you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I don't know who's monitoring the time, but whenever you want to give them like a couple minute warning to wrap things up, I can broadcast that to everybody and give them like a minute warning or however you want to do it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I definitely think with anything that we are working through, we need that low input, high reward because it's, we've talked about auctions and things like that at NAAE, and it's just
I believe we've wrapped up our committee breakout sessions. For those of you, make sure you get your reports to Jeff, and we'll go over those towards the end of our meeting. Jeff's email is on the screen so that you can send him a copy of that document. Now we're going to move into some organizational reports, and we would like to welcome Jesse Lumpkins, the newest member of the CASE team, to bring a report on CASE.
Well, hi, Region 4. Thanks for letting me be here. I did have a presentation, but I got that to y'all late, so I'm not sure if it's going to be up. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I do see a lot of familiar faces and some I've never met before. So if I've never been able to meet you, my name is Jesse Lumpkins. I taught for about 10 years. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. And I did join the CASE team in March. I've been certified since 2014, but I decided I love CASE so much, let me jump on board. So if at any point I can ever help you with anything, I'm still learning the ropes, but I'm here for y'all. My email address is on this front slide, and it's pretty easy to get a hold of me. Whatever I can do to help you or any of the staff, we're always here. I do want to say I would never disparage my own region, Region 5, but y'all know how to put some state reports together. So well done on that. I can tell that you value your time because it was very efficient, and I want to respect that. So I'm going to hit some highlights from CASE, and if I'm going too fast, you're welcome to either stop me. I'll hang around for a little bit after if you want to hit me up in the chat and say anything, and just find out about all the changes that we have going on as well, because we are still building that plane as we fly it. So we can go to that first slide. So obviously, if you are familiar with CASE, you know we have in-person professional development events, and of course those are all canceled for obvious reasons. So the things that we would like to touch on in this update are some of those alternate availabilities. I will touch on CASE Foundations in just a moment, but the biggest one right now that you could still contemplate and get involved in, especially is virtual ASA. ASA is animal science. So this is the first virtual full-length institute that we're going to host. The registration ends July 15th, so you still have some time, and that cost is $3,000. So to touch on that, normally that's a pretty high cost even for an in-person event. So you may wonder, if we're not going to meet in person very often for this virtual training, why would it be so much? I want to point out that $1,200 of that is equipment, and not just equipment that you're going to use while you're being trained, but it's also enough that you'll be able to use that in your classroom for your students, whatever that looks like in the fall and moving forward. And there is also one in-person component, and that's going to be right before NAAE convention, and that is in Nashville as well. The in-person ASA component, I think it's going to be hosted at TSU. So that is included, the room and board is included in that as well. So yes, it's still, like, even though it is virtual, the cost didn't go down, but the benefits and the things you're going to get from that are obviously equal out. If you need to know the schedule, so even though it's virtual, even though it's very staggered throughout the fall, it is required that you're at every event. And if that's, you know, you're going to be busy, or you really can't miss Saturday football, college ball, which I know is a problem for some people, you can check out the schedule if you go to register on caseforlearning.org, and you can see those Saturday requirements if that's something that could fit your schedule. But we would be glad to talk to you about ASA if that's something that you're interested in. We also have ABF, which is a briefcase, which means it's a much smaller PD event. The cost is a lot less because it's a much smaller course, ag business. And I should have shouted out at the beginning, we have a powerhouse group of CASE teachers in this region, and I feel like if I shouted out all of them, I'd miss somebody, so I'm so sorry. But we definitely have some folks that have been involved heavily in ABF in y'all's region. Normally in person, it's a day event. Virtually, it's ran into 2 days, and we're getting great feedback that the virtual event is actually just as effective, if not more, than the in-person one. Now, all of the CASE ABFs are sold out, CASE hosted, but you'll see on the list there are some states, and I know Kentucky is in this region. Forgive me if I don't know if Illinois is. I'm sorry if I'm missing that. Okay, so you have some options within your region. But the other great thing about that, and this is something you could talk to Sarah Cobb about, although I'd be glad to help, if you ever want to host your own state event, So if you were thinking in the future, maybe midwinter, y'all can get back together and we're able to meet in groups. It's pretty easy to host one of those locally, and it could be done in a day. So that's definitely something to think about. The ag business curriculum, you could probably chat with some of those folks that are well versed in that and just see if it's something that would benefit you in your program. Go to the next one. Foundations, I just want to touch on this. If you're already case certified, this doesn't apply to you directly, although Sarah would definitely say she would prefer for you to go through this as well. Anybody who is newly case certified. So let's say next summer you decide you're going to take your first course. We have introduced a new introductory self-paced training called Case Foundations. And the purpose of that is just to get everybody on the same page about what case is. If you are not aware and you've heard of case, you probably have some ideas, but the foundations will help get everybody on the same page. Regardless of what the course is that people are going to take, they'll take foundations first, because it's just things like the case design process, assessment, and some other things that apply to everybody regardless of what you're taking. It's self-paced. I think it takes maybe an hour. People who have done it could probably correct me. But we just hope that going forward, that just does even more to bring everybody on the same page and make sure that we are helping everybody use case curriculum to the fullest extent. We heard Jeff talk about earlier moving forward, and so I like that he said that. I just wanted to touch moving forward, what case might look like in the future. We wanted to bring everybody up to speed on what we have offering right now. So we know that Foundations is the beginning for anybody who's new. We have Institutes, which are those full-length, 8, 9, 10-day events. We now have virtual ones. ASA is our first, but we know that we're going to have more, and we would love to hear from y'all on what you want those to be and what you need those to be. We know there's a contingent of teachers who, y'all are excellent and you need professional development, but maybe you can't leave the farm. Maybe you just can't leave your family. If virtual is going to work for you, we know that next summer we'll need to provide some of those, and we'd love to hear which ones, the demand is there for. We have fast tracks. If you've just never heard of that, it's a shortened version of the in-person event where you have some homework ahead of time, and then you just have a shorter institute time. And then briefcases, right now, the only briefcase is that ag business class. But again, we have those in person and virtual as well. One update I can give you that I think is pretty exciting is that we're going to have a new website pretty soon, Case. Now, it's going to still have the same address. You don't have to, change the bookmarks or anything as far as the main site. We were hoping it would be July 1 that it would launch. I can't promise it'll be July 1 anymore, but it will be July. So if you have like a random list of things that maybe, a checklist of just things to do in the summer, I know I always did when I was teaching, you may want to put on your list that when this is available, check out My Case. So My Case is going to be your own way to sign into the Case website. That's going to be important because we know that people's email addresses change. And often, I'll hear from people and they'll say, well, I didn't get an email, or I didn't hear about that, or that email didn't come to me. Sometimes people suppress the NAAE emails. I'm sure that's on accident, right? But it also just might be that your email was incorrect in the system that we have. So you could do that now for the NAAE site, and we also encourage you to do that on our Case site. The other thing, if you'll look beside My Case, is Case Store. Now, if you are familiar with Case and you use purchasing manuals, you know that that's an Excel spreadsheet that's just kind of for your own use. I think everyone will be excited to know that you can basically use the store as the purchasing manual. It's pretty amazing. I won't go into detail, but when that opens, if you are somebody who orders every year from Case, that just got easier, and we can't wait to roll that out to everyone. I do just want to plug our Case Awards. The deadline is Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, and I know that's quick, and there are some big narratives, but I'm looking at this list of teachers, and I know there are some award-winning Case teachers in here, or award-worthy, right? I think sometimes we don't have people fill these out because they're kind of long narratives, but it really is just a description of what you've been doing. There is a rubric online that teachers can use. Unfortunately, if you're on the advisory committee, those are the only folks that are ineligible for this. The awards are a model school, so if you have several Case courses that you implement with fidelity, you're really proud of that, that would be a model school. An innovation award is, somebody who maybe didn't have the funding or the support and did something very innovative to get that implemented in your school. So, if that doesn't apply to you, but you can think of somebody, tag them on Facebook or share this with them and say that you'd be glad to support them and maybe proofread, their application. There was a great question about foundations. It does not cost. So foundations is free. So if you were just curious about CASE and you wanted to check it out, you could go take the foundations course right now and be certified in that foundations course. And then you would have that door open for you for CASE. So thank you, Annette. That was a great question. All right, wrapping it up, I do want to say if you want to host any institute, we know that, going forward, things are going to be pretty unique and different. And if you are somebody who has hosted or ever thought of that, know that Sarah is working on those applications. And if there's anything that you think might be different this year because of just the climate of everything, always let her know. But I would encourage you to be thinking about the details of if you are wanting to host and what that might look like for 2021. Since things are going to be changing a lot, the best ways to stay updated with CASE is the website. So you have that link there. It's not going to change even when our new website launches. Of course, we would love for you to follow our Facebook, and I just linked it there and show you what it looks like because some people might search CASE, and if you search that, it may not come straight up, so you have to type the full name. If and when you are certified, we do have a CASE Facebook group. We have to limit that to those who are certified in a full course or ABF or a fast track, just because we might share classified or copywritten, not classified information, and so we limit that to those who are certified. Finally, what I want to say is I hope that we get to see each other in Nashville. Of course, that's where I am. So if and when we finally get here, I can give you lots of recommendations on places for boots and barbecue. And I wanted to say bourbon because I love alliteration in threes, but I think my Kentucky friends might want a word with me if we claim that in Tennessee. So regardless, I would be happy to host y'all when we get here. Through this next year, CASE just wants to support you. So whatever we can do to help you meet your professional development goals, please let us know.
Thank you so much, Jessie, for bringing greetings from CASE. Andrea, if you would like to provide a Teach Ag report.
Sure, absolutely. So one of the big initiatives we're working on right now with Teach Ag is the Ag Education for All initiative. It's a partnership with the National FFA organization. And so our primary focus with that is inclusion, diversity, and equity in our classrooms and our programs. So we're trying to implement different types of trainings and professional development in all of our Teach Ag programming that we can. Right now, the demand for ag teachers is strong because programs are expanding. And so we have lots of openings across the country, which is fantastic. You can see the numbers there. Our retention rate is the highest that it's been in more than a decade. It's 97%. New graduates who are going into the classroom is at its highest level in over 20 years, and that's 77%. The number of people or students enrolling in ag education degree programs are increasing when everybody else seems to be decreasing, so that's really promising as well. And then there's an increase in alternatively certified and non-certified ag teacher hires just because of the supply and demand currently. And so we're also looking at different ways that we can help alternatively certified or non-certified ag teachers get the resources that they need to offer quality programming to our students. Right now, our new graduates are predominantly female at 74% and 87% Caucasian, in case you need those statistics. So we're working on effective recruitment, retention, strategies for pre-service and current agriculture teachers. So as far as recruitment, and we're doing a lot with our star states. Most of you all are star states. We have 41 of those right now. So our recruitment strategies, we do different signing events. We have our degree pathway on the website. We offer training if you want to do a local or state level or university level Teach Ag Ambassador program. I actually offer kind of a training over Zoom, obviously, for people that want to try to set that up at the local level. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know, and I'm happy to go through things. We have a lot of resources on the website as well, if you'd like to just take a look at those. We try to keep our webpage as updated as possible as far as what we have to offer and everything. So right now our supply and demand profiles are all up to date with 2019's research from NAAE. So if you want to take a look at that, Region 4 is on there, obviously, as well as the nationwide profile. And if you want to take a look at the data at the state level, those are also available online as well. Like I said, we have 41 states enrolled in the STAR program. The STAR program is going really, really well. Where obviously our numbers are going up. So our recruitment and retention efforts are definitely working. Right now, we're on hold because of travel restrictions as far as our face-to-face meetings and everything. But we're doing our best to modify our instruction, I guess, if you want to put it in teacher terminology. Ellen is also each month sending out a best practices HTML email. If you would like to receive that and you're not, just let us know and we're happy to add you to our subscriber list. It highlights all of our different recruitment and retention strategies and resources that are available. National Teach Ag Day will be on September 17th. We are actually sending out host kit materials. They have like stickers and invitations, and basically it's like a Teach Ag Day party in a package. So if you're interested in that, let us know. And that way we can celebrate Teach Ag Day together, since Teach Ag Day will actually be in Lexington at the NAAE office this year, just due to travel restrictions and everything that we're working through. And we understand that with the way the school year may look in the fall, that you might not be able to celebrate exactly on September 17th. So we want you to have the supplies to do it whenever you are able to do so, and to join us virtually on September 17th as we celebrate agricultural education. So if you have any questions about Teach Ag Day or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me or Ellen, and we're happy to help you with that. Virtual events, we have a lot of different resources and things, like we've kind of talked about already, for states and universities to use in order to host virtual events right now, since, you know, we're all kind of at a standstill and wondering how the fall is going to look and everything. So I just encourage you to check out our website, reach out to us, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are pushing out all the information that's current that we have, mostly through social media and through HTML emails and everything. So just keep up with us, and we're happy to help you in any way that we can.
Thank you very much, Andrea. If Karen Hutchinson's on, she has a national FFA update. I think Karen's going to hit the highlights, but the entire update can be found on our Communities of Practice Region 4 page.
Thanks, Deanna. I am here. I would suggest that you go to the actual page, because there's some dates and more specifics on teacher resources and things like that that I'm going to touch on. I would say probably the one of the biggest pieces of information people want is there going to be a national convention in person? And I can't answer that one. That decision will be made, as you can see up here, around July 15th, after they meet with the board of directors. I will tell you they are working on plans as if there will be one. We do know that the latest information with the CDEs and LDEs, that they will not be in person this year, but will be back next year. As you can see on the slide, I would highly suggest that you keep track of the convention website, because that is where all of the latest information on convention will be. There's also, that's where the band course and talent application is. It's under planning on that website. There's an A to Z guide on the convention website that's really helpful, and an FAQ site. So I would suggest, if you haven't looked at the site, to take a look at it and bookmark it, because it is updated pretty regularly. The other thing that's on the slide is the subscribe the website, and that's at the top of the National FFA site. And you can subscribe to Mark's weekly update, Just for Owls, which comes out monthly, information for teachers, the New Horizons, which is monthly, and alumni. If you subscribe to any of them now but would like to subscribe to a different one, please just mark all of them you want to subscribe to. If you're subscribed to like New Horizons and you want Mark's update, so you just click on Mark's because you think you're already subscribed to New Horizons, it'll take you off New Horizons and just give you Mark. So just click on any of those that you're interested in. Agri-Science Fair, National Chapter, all of that still is on target for this year's convention. And so you can see the due dates is August 3rd. Again, that's for this year only. We're working on, like everybody else, delayed dates just because of everything that's going on. So just information on the different events that are happening. If you want to present or apply to present a workshop to teachers or students, the original date was at the end of June, but they have extended that. So go ahead and apply if you're interested to present at the convention. There's some alumni information. If you have strong alumni, make sure that I'm sorry, I'm like skipping all over the place and you're trying to keep up with my slides. I'm trying to be cognizant of your time. There are, if you haven't looked, there's some great alumni grants. If you haven't applied for any of those, if you have a strong alumni chapter, I would highly suggest that you go in and take a look at some of those. They're pretty simple applications to complete. They aren't doing the regional conferences this year, the development conferences in person, but they do have remote ones. And you can see on the slide that the remaining ones for this year and how you can sign up to participate in some of those. I think the rest of what's on the slide, Deanna, is a lot of the teacher resources, National FFA. Those are the alumni ones. So again, go make sure you take a look at the slides because you can get that information. National FFA has worked pretty hard to provide teacher resources as learning has gone online, and continues to develop resources. If there's anything in particular that you don't have or would like to see, please let me know, and I will definitely also type my emails at the end of this, but I'll type it into the chat too, so you have it pretty easily. I would just say too, now, if anybody has any questions, anything they want to know, or any thoughts that they want me to share, to let me know that.
If nobody has any questions for Karen, I want to thank you very much for joining us. And again, like I said, Karen's entire PowerPoint is posted on our Communities of Practice page. The exact place the entire Region 4 PowerPoint will be posted. So you can find the direct link there, or you can find the link through the PowerPoint that you're viewing today. So thank you very much, Karen.
But please reach out if anybody has any questions. about what's going on, please reach out to us because we're all still here.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey, just some reports from NAAE. Sometimes people have questions about where to find the financial documents. All financial documents can be found on the NAAE website under Who We Are and Organizational Reports. On this page, you'll be able to see all of the documents, including the fiscal year compilations. You'll also be able to see all the annual budgets and including our multi-year budget report. I'll just go ahead and bring up the 2021 budget, basically how it's broken down. And Parker had mentioned this when he gave his update just a little bit, that pretty much the majority of our funds is based upon member dues. And when we look at most in-person summer conferences being canceled and everything going to virtual, we know for both your states and on the NAAA level, it could be a challenge in collecting membership. One of the benefits is Ashley Hood, who does the membership totals and collects dues on the NAAA level. She can accept credit cards. So if your state association has the ability to pay by credit, we can do it that way. We can also do checks. The membership year does end June 30th, and the new membership year will start July 1. So with that, you can see the revenue from the projected revenue with our 2021 budget, which will start July 1, with our member dues and then convention receipts, understanding that these may change depending on what is allowed to be held, and then any additional revenue or other revenue from our various programs. We also receive a sizable amount from the FFA Foundation for projects, including our award programs. And then we received a grant through the foundation for the new office space, salary support, and also new positions that benefit the organization and benefit the membership. Expenses are then broken down based upon the office administration and expenses. The National FFA Foundation projects, which are essentially a flow through, with some of those expenses being applied up into the general office and administration because of our foundation grant for office space. Then our convention expenses, with the projected 3% set aside on a yearly basis that we try to put into reserves. Does anybody have any questions regarding the budget? If not, I do encourage you to always check out the NAAA website, look through the budgets, look through our audits, look through our multi-year budget report so you can see our expenses and our revenue tracking from year to year. We always try to keep it with about a 10-year spread on the budget reporting. And if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. One of the other large items that we sometimes forget about is our Ag Educator Relief Fund. That I know some states have individual relief funds, but we also have a national relief fund that provides a great benefit to our members. If a member is in need, the state president can send in a relief fund form to apply for a $500 grant to benefit the educator, that NAAA member, whether it be from a natural disaster, maybe health issues, or a variety of other things. And I think that's one of the greatest things about our organization, that we are a family and we're there to benefit each other and we're there to support each other during our times of need. So if there is no questions regarding the financial reports, I'll move on and just give just a quick little update about the membership report. So this is a comparison between our 2018 and our 2019 membership report. Like I said, there's still about 5 days left in the 2019-2020 membership report. For the state, those that are on your state executive committee, it's the 2019-2020 final membership, active plus active life, which determines your delegate count for the following year. So wherever your membership totals end at the end, basically as of June 30th, is what will determine your delegate counts for Nashville. So once the fiscal year ends, I'll be able to determine those. But you can see the breakdown based upon individual types of memberships, active, retired, associate, student, life, life retired, and then the breakdown in the lower part where it has the comparison from 1 year to the next. Overall, we have a great membership total. We're one of the largest regions in total NAAE membership, with actually the smallest pool of states. And I think that's a testament to each one of our states about how much we promote membership and the value of membership to our fellow teachers, and the great benefits that are provided with membership. Does anybody have any questions about the membership report? So let's talk about a few of those opportunities that are provided by NAAE, and especially states if you're trying to encourage your fellow teachers to become members of your state association and of NAAE. These are some of the highlights that provide great resources for them, including professional liability insurance, award recognition, networking, professional development, professional resources, and advocacy. Because with NAAE, some of our main priorities are to advocate for agricultural education, provide professional development, especially during these unusual times we've seen. We've done a great job in relation to being able to modify our professional development and really give great online professional development that has been a benefit to a variety of members. And then also, like Andrea talked about, teacher recruitment, retention, and recognition for pre-service teachers, but also working through some of our professional development programs like Teacher Turn the Key and Accelerate to keep those strong professionals in our organization. Don't forget that your professional liability insurance is for active life, and also student members, especially for those pre-service teachers as they enter into student teaching or as they're going on to school visits for observation. Becoming a member of NAAE gives you up to $100,000 coverage with your NAAE membership, and then with additional waivers, you can get up to $2 million of liability insurance. There's also additional group insurance policies that are available, and you can find all those under the NAAE website under member benefits. Additional programs that are available include My Local Cooperative. When you're looking at My Local Cooperative, it's actually curriculum-based that allows you with your students to develop cooperative basics and agricultural cooperative career opportunities within your classroom. So if you're looking for programs that you may want to integrate, if you do have to go to some online learning, My Local Cooperative is a great resource both in the classroom and for online. Just contact Ellen Thompson and she will be able to give you more information on My Local Cooperative. You can also find it through the link to the website. When they're looking at My Local Cooperative, there's various instructional models, which you can see identified here, to be able to include a variety of information to students. We were talking about recruitment and retention of teachers, especially retention of teachers. As we become more veteran teachers, we know that we're pulled in various directions, whether it be with family or other obligations, and finding that balance between dedicating your time to your students at school and then also your children at home or family at home or those other opportunities that are presented to you. The Accelerate program is a great way to help you re-energize yourself and stay focused. Accelerate program is for teachers from their 7th through 15th year of teaching. And it is a program that professional development that is specifically geared towards career satisfaction and retention of teachers. It's actually a year-long program. The applications are due September the 15th. If you have questions, contact Elisa Smith. And essentially, you will attend the national convention, but then you will have year-long professional development to focus on basically re-energizing yourself. I know multiple teachers that have gone through the Accelerate program, and they said it was probably the greatest eye-opening experience for them and what they needed mid-career to be able to keep going. There's also the opportunities to host Accelerate programs both at regional and state conferences. And I know we've had several states within our region that have had state Accelerate programs. Additional professional development available to you is things like the National Agri-Science Teacher Ambassador Academy, which I know we have several members within our region that are National Agri-Science Teacher Ambassadors. A great program, and you can see the specifics there on the screen. One thing that I'm very passionate about is advocacy. In NAAE, we do a great job when it comes to advocacy, both on the local, state, and federal levels. One great benefit to both state and local ag ed programs is NAAE provides ag education profiles. You can actually follow the web link, and there's a template that you can create your own ag education profile for your own program. You can create them from your own state. I know for my specific program, I've used the template and I've created an advocacy profile that when my students and I go to our state capitol to talk to legislators about different programs, we'll actually utilize the advocacy profile. So make sure to check that out. It's a great resource that is built in for you that you can just provide your information. Additionally, additional advocacy occurs on the federal level through representation on a variety of boards and also interests and representing the interests of ag education in various sources. If advocacy is something that you're passionate about or you want to learn more about advocacy, I highly suggest that you attend the National Policy Seminar. It's usually held in early to mid-March. It was canceled this past year. The last couple of years it's been held the end of March. And it was probably entering into my state executive role before I was able to serve as the Region 4 Secretary and Vice President. National Policy Seminar, those couple of days were probably some of the most impactful to really understand how to advocate for agriculture and how to advocate on all levels of agriculture. So I highly encourage anybody that if you haven't been able to attend, try to attend the National Policy Seminar in Washington, D.C. Each state can have one representative paid through NAAE in order to attend the National Policy Seminar. So make sure to watch for announcements of those this winter. Okay. So Jeff, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about an additional benefit of how members can get involved on national committees.
Okay. We have in Region 4 committee positions we need to keep filled for each year. These are pretty simple to be a part of. You have a couple of virtual meetings a year, Region 4 conference, and then NAAE conference each year. All are times that these meet, but it could just be as little as the 2 virtual meetings. So always need people to fill these. Deanna, if you'd go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, many years ago, Region 4 set up a rotation between states for committees. Over the years, it kind of got out of whack a little bit. So while I was sitting in a airport coming back from Anaheim, I tried to clean it up. We did revote on this in Anaheim to continue with the rotation. So this takes us through 2041. And if I'm still around in 2041, someone please put me out of my misery, but I'm sure Harold Eckler will be there still as part of this organization. So we'll leave it up to Harold. I know Harold is not on here, but I enjoy throwing him under the bus and referring to him as old whenever possible. So this is the rotation. State leaders, just make sure that you know what positions you are up for. If anybody sees a flaw in this, please let me know and we can make corrections. So anybody have any questions regarding the committee rotation?
Thank you, Jeff. And remember, state leaders, this will be available on Communities of Practice through this PowerPoint so that you can access it. And Jeff will be in contact, and we'll start trying to fill these about the time that we have national convention in Nashville. But if you know of somebody that would be great to fill one of these positions, make sure to contact Jeff and he will be able to provide you with the link in order for them to fill out their application and their MOU. So give me just 1 second. I need to restart the PowerPoint. Okay, and we're going to go into our committee reports. With these, because these are not an official committee meeting, these are just discussions, so we will not be presenting a motion or passing these. These are just for informational purposes. All information that was discussed during the breakout sessions will be posted on our Communities of Practice page, and it will be provided to all of the committees. So when the next virtual committee meetings are held in August, these will be able to be discussed. So Stacy, I'll start with you and the Finance Committee.
Perfect. So in our Finance Committee, we discussed a lot about the relief fund and things that we need to work on to make sure that we keep our funding in the relief fund to help those ag teachers out that do come across a health issue or an emergency. So the first thing that we discussed is a couple of us in there have been on the Finance Committee for a couple of years, that we need to definitely have more follow-up with that committee. We tend to discuss things at our region conference, and then we take it to the committee, and then it seems like we don't see where it's actually carried out. So taking that to the committee level of being able to follow up on those ideas. I know NAAE has worked on updating their website to be able to make online donations to relief funds. We feel like that's something that if there's a place to make online donations, instead of having to call with your credit card to the office, that is something that would help. Utilizing social media to gain interest in the relief fund, looking into and researching the online day of giving that's in November. There's organizations out there that will match funds. It's an easy way. You see it come across your social media, a couple of clicks and you can make that donation. Working with states to support both their state relief funds as well as the national relief funds. I know most of our states have something that we use in addition to the national relief fund. So trying to figure out a way that we can work with both of those. We talked about the impact of relief funds in 2020 because of a lot of our state conferences and all of our regional conferences being virtual. So I know typically at Region 4, we do a 50-50 drawing, and with the money going back to the relief fund. So not being able to meet in person, looking at what impact this summer is having on our relief fund income. The idea coming from Illinois of the I Support Ag Education shirts, maybe trying to do something like that through NAAE with a specific piece of apparel that proceeds would go to the relief fund, and asking the committee to really focus on some of those low input and high reward ideas to raise funds that with us being spread out across the country, if we don't have to have an auction where we have to travel and carry things home, but using some of those ideas to help raise our funds.
Thank you very much, Stacy. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you very much. Lisa Ulrich, if you would like to give the report for the marketing committee.
So we talked about some things as a follow-up to what was presented at NAAE. The marketing committee would like to push a virtual store to make NAAE materials, branded materials, available to teachers. One of the things that this group really liked was the opportunity to have gift certificates available so that we could provide those to student teachers and other teachers as gifts. There were several items that were included out of that brainstorming session, which included clothing, polos, pullovers, quarter zips, laptop bags, backpacks, pad folios, stickers, mugs or Yeti type coolers, and that was looked favorably upon by this committee. The time frame was an issue. When should this be available? It wouldn't be all the time. It would be limited to specific week sections. Back to school and April were considered early. And then this group added the idea of including a time frame prior to the holidays. And if I could have the next slide, that'd be great. Thank you.
I think.
Okay, so only part of it got added. All right, let me follow up then. So then the other things that we had were communities of practice and how valuable communities of practice is to the organization. Several of the ideas that we came across, making sure that communities of practice is being shared with and used or offered to our teaching institutions, that our student teachers are fully aware of that information. Next up, making sure or adding that as an offering for regional conference professional development, as well as running that back through at NAAE. And then our final piece was NAAE social media, and how can the marketing committee do a better job of getting that information out to our members. And one of the options was a teacher takeover, and the committee was struggling with the when, the who, and the how of that. And this group came up with a great idea that one per week would be valuable, but then also adding at the end of that a live question and answer period that would be available. And then last but not least, how can we make the current NAAE social platforms more accessible and visually appealing? What can we add to do that?
Thank you very much. And does anybody have any questions? I know I saw on the chat that everybody's pretty excited about the opportunity for an online store and it agrees that it would be a great addition. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Welcome.
Hey, Matt, Bernia?
All right, so we had a great discussion over in the Member Services Committee. Kind of our first discussion topic was what can NAA basically do to support teachers during this online, hybrid, unknown teaching style time. So some of the things that we talked about were integrated lessons for e-learning, sample lessons provided, kind of a list of online teaching strategies developed by teachers and shared out across the communities of practice. Professional development on tech use would be really supportive for some of our teachers, running through different platforms like Zoom, Google Meets, all of those great technologies that we are becoming experts in overnight. if NAAA could put something together for that, that'd be super helpful for our membership. There was discussion about fear that our schools will move more towards a core-only focus if we continue to see closure from COVID. So needing to advocate that we're also science teachers as well through our content. Community of practice awareness, kind of getting out the word about communities of practice, maybe providing some trainings and PD on navigation use, maybe reorganizing things just a little bit, getting rid of duplicate lessons, organizing folders, that kind of stuff. And then something that I think would be really useful is making it smartphone and tablet friendly. I know we do have Jive, but again, working on developing a user friendly for transportable devices. Then really a lot of our conversation was that it's hard to identify what our needs are going to be. No state really has announced a plan in solid. They're planning to plan for the return. And so it's kind of hard for us to identify what needs we have at this time for hybrid and online learning. Then we talked about convention and how it's going to be impacted by COVID. People are worried about administration restricting their travel, sub shortages and teacher absences. And people are going to want as many days in the classroom as possible. We don't know when we're going to be thrown out of our classrooms again. And so spending that face time with our students is important. So taking a week off of school to do a well-earned and refreshing PD is an awesome thought. But again, feeling that need to be in our classrooms. If we do have our in-person event, we need to make sure that we're following state guidelines for safety and security and our overall health. It's really kind of hard, again, to determine 6 months out. We're not sure what we're going to look like here in 6 months. We might be seeing another wave and another wave of closures. We might not. So, and then should NAAE offer alternative forms of professional development in lieu of in-person meetings? We felt that there would be value added with online professional development. More teachers could attend. PDs could be recorded and sent to teachers who had conflicts, and all of that good stuff that, you know, has kind of been a benefit of COVID. We've learned how to reach people across a wide distance and provide outstanding professional development through technology.
Thank you very much, Matt. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the member services discussion? If not, we'll move on to policy and bylaws. Matt Meyer.
Well, I want to start by thanking the one other person who joined me in my committee. Jeff Meyerhofer was also listening online and texting me, but he was at Yellowstone National Park, so he was there from a distance. So one of the things that we were asked to look at and discuss was the currently being 25 vacancies across the committees at the national level. And Deanna, maybe you can clarify, is that a high, a low, a midpoint?
That's about average, but the one great thing that we found in Region 4 is we have every single committee position filled for Region 4. It's a few regions that are struggling to find members to stay on this consistently. I think when we talked in Anaheim in December, I think our rotation, which it's not liked by some regions and some people, is actually provided a great benefit and a direction for our region in order to keep those committee positions filled.
And then that was discussed as part of our committee discussion, is that as a region, we do have that rotation, which does help us keep those positions filled. Of course, the discussion that I'm sure that many of us have is, you know, the struggle in filling those vacancies is often, as the people sitting in the room having the discussion, we often struggle to understand why other people don't choose to be a part of those activities. So just talking about trying to promote, committee participation is another form of professional development. I know in Illinois we're currently facing some needs to look at our committee structure, and one of the big things that I can say on my time on our board of directors is that we have some committees that appear to have a much heavier workload than others. And I think when we really drill down on that, sometimes it really comes down to who is serving in a leadership position on those committees and how well they are directing that committee to seek out and serve their purposes. So working to continue, the downside that we discussed in our committee is, yes, we meet here at the region, we meet at NAAE, but I just kind of discussed that first report. Sometimes we miss the connection then with those virtual meetings, and making sure that the follow through or that the same intent follows maybe some of the discussions when we have larger groups together carries through. So addressing some of those things. The second thing we were kind of asked to look at was the leadership handbook, and we just kind of ran out of time to really get into that in too much detail. As far as we were also asked to look at the committee structure and the current committees and how they are, and I think ours at the national level are fairly generic, and I think most of them are meeting the needs they were intended for and had no real recommendations there.
Thank you, Matt. Does anybody have any questions regarding policy and bylaws? Josh Bondi, professional growth.
Yep. So professional growth, we had a really good, we had a large number of people in our group, and we had some really good discussion points. The three things we were asked to talk about, first one is ideas unlimited and workshop ideas and how they should be shared with our membership. First thing we talked was the NAAE website, and then we were worried about the storage capability. We talked about communities of practice website and thought that was probably a better and easier way to access it. And someone mentioned the YouTube channel for NAAE, and we thought that was probably the winner of the deal, and that's where we needed to put those videos of the Ideas Unlimited. Myself and another gentleman in the room both helped judge those this week, and we talked about how awesome they were and how those pushed out to our teachers, especially maybe our younger teachers, would be a really positive thing. Second topic was a little offensive, but we'll take it. The Wise and Seasoned Owl programming for those 15 years teaching and older. We thought like that is a definite thing the NAAE needs to make a push on. We felt that it could be an extension on Accelerate. We thought that it could happen at NAAE conference or at regional conferences once we're back in person. A positive from it was that it would how to keep things new in the classroom and no longer doing our lessons and our activities just the way we've always done them. One thing we wanted to see it put in is how to be a better mentor for younger teachers. We thought that was really important, and how to get those teachers involved in our state associations. We also wanted to see them talk about recruitment and retention as teachers so that we create that stable base when we are able to retire and leave the profession. We also wanted to see hands-on activities with peer teachers. We thought that would be good, and maybe even the possibility of them then, as part of their training, go back out and teach workshops at conferences or back at state level stuff. Our third topic, and we didn't have a whole lot of time to get into because we just kind of, we were getting like the 1 minute warning on, was the international experiences and whether it would be valuable for our educators. We said yes, is definitely would be valuable. We were asked a price point and a time. Obviously summer, maybe July. The price point, nobody ever really threw out true numbers. The one I think really good suggestion is that maybe we look to do it 2 years in advance. So as a teacher, you have time to save and prepare for that. Maybe offer scholarships. And someone mentioned partnering with other organizations that do those kind of things for cost-effective measures. And that was the Professional Growth Committee report.
Thank you, Josh. Does anybody have any questions on any of the topics? If not, we'll move on. Jesse, do you want to give a quick report?
I like your inclusion of the quick report with what is written on the slide here. We had the agenda. One of the biggest things that I can say is a focus. Region 4 has typically been pretty good. I have not looked at COP to know the answer to this, but perhaps someone else does. Our state profiles are out there on the website and COP that are there. And I guess we kind of spent some time. There were 5 of us in the committee. 3 of which were pretty new to, it was first time they had kind of learned about what the committee was about. So we spent more time kind of talking about what some resources are and the collaboration. So I'll just kind of share that with everybody in general. Please make sure that your state profiles are as current as possible. I can say this from my own experience is as we move forward trying to do some legislative work, being able to see what other states were doing and what they had out there was extraordinarily helpful. That precedent is important to have. And so we also, a few years ago, kind of initiated to get information up. And I'll use an example in Illinois. We used it to advocate in legislation for 12-month contracts. In some of your states, that's been a long time thing. In some of your states, you kind of want to do the same thing is what I've heard. And others might not have that same familiarity, but knowing what others are doing is really a big part of the Public Policy Committee. And so that's really what the focus was on, is sharing the good news about what we had. Didn't have a lot of reports from states, I guess, in terms of new legislation or things that they were working with or proud of. But please make sure that your state reports are updated, and that's the biggest thing.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Does anybody have any questions in regards to public policy or advocacy? Our last report comes from Stephanie Jollis and strategic planning.
This is Whitney Short. Stephanie actually had to leave for a cattle show, so I'll give her report. It is just to make sure that you share, state leaders, please share with your membership the strategic planning survey. It was emailed to us and it's also on the website. And if everyone here could also take that, that'd be great to just help with the strategic planning committee.
So, and if you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to that survey. Only takes a couple of minutes in order to take it. Strategic planning is asking for NAAE members and non-members to take it. It just helps to provide some feedback for future planning. So I'll leave that up there just for a second if everybody wants to scan it. If you don't want to do it at this current moment, remember you will be able to access this PowerPoint from Communities of Practice and you'll be able to scan it from there. So we'll move on to our next item of business, just a few new business and region discussions. We had talked last year in regards to trying to have a regional pre-service teacher program. Well, with the change to Zoom, the hope is next year to be able to have pre-service professional development on the regional level and invite pre-service teachers to our regional meeting to participate in specific professional development set just for them, then also participate in tours and then also the business session. But highly encourage pre-service teachers. NAAE student membership is just $10. That gives them the opportunity for the upper division scholarships and also that liability insurance. At any point in time, if you have any questions, I've included both Jeff and my email addresses on the screen and also the variety of ways that you can stay informed about NAAE and AgEd, including the listserv, access to the NAAE website, and then also the electronic newsletters like News and Views, Teach Ag Times, New Teacher News. Specifically, I try to provide monthly updates on Communities of Practice. The QR code will take you directly to Communities of Practice. You can actually follow our Region 4 page, so you'll receive notification when items are updated. It's also the easiest place to find the documents like the National FFA program update that Karen had provided to us, and then also all of this information. As of right now, we've had some discussion. The 2020 NAAE convention is currently still planned as an in-person event. It could change to a virtual option if ACTE chooses to go in that direction. So right now, early bird registration has been extended until August 31st. And you can go to the convention website for updates and also for those costs. Early bird registration is $335 for an NAAE member, $140 for a student member. And again, it will be held in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord Opryland, December 1st through the 5th. Hey, let's go.
Deanna,
Yes.
a quick question related to NAAE convention. If it's changed to a virtual option, are all registration fees going to stay the same, or would there be an opportunity for some rebates? Or
I haven't been told exactly what's going to happen, Matt. I would assume, but this is not, that there would probably be a change in the cost factor associated with it in terms of rebates or other things, but I cannot say that for certainty at this current point in time. So, but as soon as I would know and information, I would get it directly out to everybody. So unfortunately during this time, I wish I could give an answer, but just like most of us have with our schools, because it's the same email my superintendent sent out yesterday, that it was just a bunch of fluff and didn't tell us anything. Any other questions regarding NAAE and the convention? Okay, let's go into our award recognition. There you go. Thank you, Jay, for through the chat. Said registration fees will likely change if a virtual NAAE convention is held. So at the very end of this slide set, usually what we have is an in-person conference. We have the videos of our Ideas Unlimited that state winners that are played and the ability for them to answer questions. But with our change in format, everybody still recorded their videos and they were sent out electronically and they were judged by a representative from each state. That includes all of our regional all of our regional awards, Ideas Unlimited, Lifetime Achievement, Service Citation, and Outstanding Cooperation. They were judged by one representative from each state, and then they submitted their results. With Ideas Unlimited, starting with the next year process, based upon what we had established in Region 4, it was voted to go to video processes across the nation for all regions. So that is a change. It's something that we started and we found very valuable in Region 4 to create those videos so that they could be provided to membership. And the Ideas Unlimited program is actually going to be going to that for all regions starting next year. The videos for the Ideas Unlimited state winners are included at the end of this presentation. So they will be available on the Communities of Practice page for everybody to watch the great ideas. We'd like to say congratulations to the state winners, Liz Harris from Illinois, Andrew Dardini from Indiana, Shelby Roberts from Kentucky, Sarah Ray from Missouri, and Ryan Sell from Ohio. And your Region 4 winner is Liz Harris from Illinois. Congratulations, Liz. With all award winners, please do not make your arrangements yet. Wait until NAAE contacts you to make, and they will assist in making your arrangements. That also includes award winners for outstanding cooperation, for outstanding teacher, outstanding early career teacher, outstanding programs, teacher mentor, those types of programs. So our next award program was Outstanding Service Citation, which goes to current and retired NAAE members who have made significant contributions to ag education at the state, regional, and national levels. And this is a great set of gentlemen, including Don Lockwood from Illinois, Dr. Alvin Talbert from Indiana, Dr. John Tummins from Missouri, and Mark Hoffman from Ohio. And the region winner was Dr. John Tummins from the state of Missouri. Our next regional was award area was Outstanding Cooperation for organizations or agribusiness companies and others who have given outstanding support to ag education, including Compeer Financial from Illinois, ISDA from Indiana, Ed Frederick from Missouri, and Eden Farmers Cooperative from Ohio. And the regional winner is Compeer Financial of Illinois. And our final category is Lifetime Achievement for retired NAAE members who have made significant contributions to ag education on the state, regional, and national levels, including John Cabot of Illinois, Stephen Inman of Indiana, Steve Brown of Missouri, and Nathan McNeil of Ohio. And the regional winner is Dr. Steve Brown of Missouri. Congratulations to all of these award recipients. And remember, wait until NAAE contacts you. The applications were amazing, amazing participation from all the states. And thank you to everybody that volunteered to be as a judge. I think the process worked very well and was hopefully easy to navigate over the last week to get these applications judged. At this point in time, if John Hammond is on, I would like him to just give a little update, since hopefully in 2021, we will get the chance to head to Kentucky for the Region 4 conference. I just had a time hop come up from 6 years ago on my Facebook page from our tour at Buffalo Trace, which Kentucky puts on an amazing conference, just like every state association does. So John, if you're on and if you want to give a quick little update.
Yeah, we were very saddened when we had to cancel our in-person conference. We had a great conference planned, and we hope to do similar things in 2021. And so where we are, and I actually looked at the corresponding dates. I believe it was the 22nd, June the 22nd through the 24th is the dates we're planning for. But going to still be in Bardstown, Kentucky. And if you know anything about Kentucky, Bardstown is considered the bourbon capital of the world. We have pretty much any distillery that is of pretty big significance within about 50 miles of us. And so we do plan to visit Jim Beam and actually do a tour of their Global Innovation Center. That's where their food scientists actually develop new products for the Jim Beam products, as well as PepsiCo. And so it's a really cool place. And then we're also planning to visit Yum Brands, which is KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, and seeing what's going on there. Churchill Downs is also on the agenda for our tours. And we would be utilizing space in Bardstown at the hotel, as well as the school that I teach at, to have our conference. So we look forward to seeing you in 2021. We hope we could have seen you in person this year, but things happen. So we'll do it again next year and see what happens.
Thank you, John. And as always, whenever the registration information comes out, I'll make sure to post on Communities of Practice and also send it out electronically. So I know, John, we're all looking forward to heading to Kentucky in 2021. So at this point in time, if you need to rescan the letters of appreciation QR code, you can access that if you would like letters sent to your administration regarding attendance at this conference, or if you would would like a letter sent saying you've attended this conference to help with showing that extended contracts, that you're working on during the summer, doing the things that we do as an ag teacher. At this point in time, I would like to say thank you. Thank you to everybody that joined in this morning. I think our final count was almost 180 registrants for our meeting. And I think it was a great meeting. It wasn't in person like we had hoped for, but it's something that we can look for to the future. And those of you that had never attended a regional conference, I hope you can join us in person in 2021. Just like Jeff and Parker said, we have to look towards the future. Things may not look exactly like we want them to look, but we can overcome challenges. And as I was wrapping some stuff up last night and this morning, yesterday, I have a younger sister and I have one nephew. And my nephew turned 4 yesterday. So we were having cake and ice cream and those types of things. And for me to say ice cream with my nephew is a huge accomplishment. The reason being, we've all had challenges this year, but for my family, the last week has been a huge accomplishment for us because ever since my nephew was born, he hasn't been able to drink normal liquids. He's had a GI button to take all his liquids through because he aspirated his liquids. And last week we found out that he passed his last swallow study, and he can now drink normal liquids. So I was kind of thinking about everything that I've had to go through with school and the challenges and things transitioning to online. And pretty much I think are pretty small in comparison to what a 4-year-old's had to go through for the last 4 years. And being able to scoop him up ice cream because he hasn't been able to eat ice cream for 4 years is a pretty cool accomplishment. And I kind of thought about if he can do that and come through that, I can pretty much handle online schooling and students not sitting in a classroom for 6 months. But that's what I definitely hope for, is that I can see my students in person and in classroom like we all hope for. But no matter what happens and no matter what format we have, we're all resilient and we're all going to be here for each other. Because just like we talked about the Ag Ed Relief Fund, our state membership, our national membership, we have established great friends and great foundations for professional development and for just networking, that we're all there to stick with each other and help each other through. So at this point in time, if there are no questions, I will, does anybody have any questions or announcements? If not, I will adjourn this meeting of the Region 4 NAAE Association. I thank you guys, everyone, for joining in. Don't forget, you can find all the information on Communities of Practice, including the Ideas Unlimited videos and the QR codes for the letters of appreciation and that strategic planning survey. Thank you, guys.